I was just eating before and I saw a little crumb game going on. Try to make it look as full as you can. Yo, how you doing? My name is Chev. You're watching Know the People. Happy to be here. You can follow me at Chev_too much if you care to. Got a lot of cool art coming your way. Damn. We starting there. This reminds me of that clip where Jay-Z got asked, like, who is Jay-Z? And he was like, I'm just a kid from Marcy Projects. And they were like, no, literally. So I'll answer first, literally. Chev is a spoken word artist / poet from New York by way of Atlanta. Family's Jamaican, and they always taught me be all you can be. But if we're getting all deep and philosophical, I guess I'm just a kid trying his best. And I wanted to make the world around me make sense, and I found a way to do that. Oh, Lord, I don't. It is terrible out there. God bless all those people who are doing that dating thing. I think the internet has given us more access to each other than we've ever had. So we're finding out how much we need to learn about each other and how much we need to unlearn. And I think the dating pool is full of people who are trying their best, and not everybody's trying their best at the best things. So post-college, I still do the poem thing. I'm now an open mic and event host. I edit and review books. I do performance and writing coaching. I was an emerging artist at the National Black Writers Conference from Medgar Evers. Won a couple of Grand Slams. Won the World Poetry Slam Championship maybe 3 months ago. Back in November, I was sent as the United States rep to Togo, Africa, and the second American to ever win that, the first this century. And yeah, man, I'm just taking it one day at a time. Man, I mean, for one, it was my first time going to Africa, so that in itself is always beautiful and surreal. The experience was my second in-person international competition, because earlier that year I was the United States rep going to the Continental, and that was in Mexico. And that was a fun time. Everyone was like just so warm and welcoming. But what I'd say I took from Africa was the world is so much smaller than we think it is, and so much bigger than our hometowns. Like, there's no reason why we can't all just be connected globally, because everyone's going through so many of the same things and shares so many of the same stories, and language barriers are so much smaller than we think they are. But something for me personally was, don't wait on a check to tell you that it's okay for you to love what you do. Because, again, basketball fan, I was watching the NBA OGs, that special they did with Steph, Bron, and KD, and they were talking about like their preparation and how much they love the game. And I was like, we would look at 3 grown men like in their 30s and 40s with families crazy about talking this way about a game if they weren't getting paid millions of dollars for it. Like, somewhere there's a welder who really loves being a welder, and a sculptor who really loves being a sculptor, and an engineer who really loves being an engineer. But we look at passion as having to pay us first. And I think it's okay that, like, if you're able to carve out a living for yourself and sustain, and like being happy and excited and thrilled about what you do, because what I do is kind of niche. I do a lot of spoken word. I do a lot of slams. And I found out overseas that they're in stadiums. We were on television when I was in Africa. I didn't even know that. They told me 4 million people watched it after it was over. I was like, y'all capping, first and foremost. But then we get to the airport and security is stopping us, not to check passports, but to take pictures. And like, staff is wanting to pose with the trophy, then pose with me, then pose with the other poets. And I was just like, oh, that's crazy. Okay, so if we can only put 5 people in Chev, Kendrick's got to be in there. Stevie Wonder got to be in my phone. I don't care about none of that. I am 27 going on 50. I'm going to say Sam Cooke. Again, I am an old man. I don't care what nobody say. You know, a Vibes Cartel just got out. He can get in here. He can get in here. We got to have some from the crib for sure. And I'll be playing mad Big X the Plug these days. I'm going to throw Big X the Plug in there for sure. If they make you happy, rock out. I plan on getting braces because I want to see what we can do with like my regular teeth. But you know, some people's teeth are beyond that point. You know, I'm not a big fan of the full like Steve Harvey Johns where you know what I'm saying they're a little extra large. I would try to go as like realistic and not like cartoonish almost with them as possible. But again, if they make you happy, it's your money. Rock out. Bro, I was homeless after school for a while. I was literally homeless and like doing poems on trains to like feed and stay clean and stuff for a minute too. And ended up working my way out of that, of course, you know, like one penny at a time and all that. But yeah, there was regular days where I'd wake up and like, you know, the F train from 169th, hop on that guy, wait a couple of stops. You got to go past Roosevelt because that's typically where you stop seeing students or anybody we'd be like familiar with. Hop on. As soon as the dancers stop, I was up next. You do that shit. And like sometimes people can barely hear you. Sometimes people don't want to hear you. And that makes sense. You just on your commute. You ain't signed up for this. I think every time it never got easy. And sometimes they gave you enough to get something to eat. Sometimes, this one was empty and you had to hit the next one. And I'd do that and then keep riding out to the city to do my actual shows. And some nights were tougher than others. Oh, see, I can't say definitively the best food spots because I don't make that much money. So I don't got access to everything. But here's where I like to eat at. Am I allowed to curse? Because Atlanta be naming things after curse words. I'm going to say Hungry AF is the name of a restaurant for sure that I frequent. Grant Central Pizza. They're amazing. Humble Pie, also very good. Pizza and Italian food. If you want wings, you can hit Wings R Us down in West End. If you're ever on that side of Atlanta, there's the Bando, another dope spot if you want to catch, some real ATL extra season type stuff. We snack on a budget around here. That's what we do. See, it kind of like starts when I was a kid. You see, I've always had this hunger about me. Like when I was a boy, my stomach growled like it had teeth. Like there was a beast beneath my skin just waiting to be unleashed. You see, my mama asked the doctors what was wrong with me, and no kidding, they said, Miss Donna, relax. Your baby boy's just got that dog in him. But my father's still the biggest dog I know. Like you could throw that man a stick, and he'll fetch a whole new family tree. Yeah, I'd say Dawgs was a poem that changed just how I looked at life, as well as like the trajectory of my career. It was one about myself and my relationship to my family, most notably my parents in that one. And just the motif of how so many of us develop our personalities through the things we go through, what that would look like going forward, not even knowing whether or not forgiveness or acceptance of some things is in reach for real. I remember that poem took me like a year to conceptualize, a month to actually write, an hour to learn. And I got to do it at a festival called Exit 36. Which was a national joint. I got to win that in Florida. That got me put into the United States rep competition. That was in Baltimore. Used it again in one of my rounds and won that. Took it to Africa, won that round too, and ended up, getting a world title, a bunch of bookings. I think it's done maybe 200,000 views between like YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. I don't even have anything on my TikTok. I think it's on Poetry Me Pleases joint, and I think it's on Voices and Powers joint too, as well as their IGs. Yeah, it'd have to be that one because like that was probably the second time since back then where I heard somebody like, yo, I think I snapped. Like, I think I wrote something this time. And I try not to write anything I don't believe in. So I like all of my stuff. I just knew I was accomplishing something different because when I was editing, I couldn't get through it without crying at first. I mean, now, of course, I can because I've been doing it for like a year. But I was like, oh, I needed this. I think what makes me feel the best isn't really even like any of the competitions or the shows or, shit like that. Is when other men tell me that they needed that or that they relate to the experiences in them. Because, again, that's just what it's for. I just really wanted to be the artist I would have needed to listen to. And that's where I come up with like what I think I should do next all the time. And hopefully I can fill that gap so every little kid like me, has somebody whose book they could read or somebody whose video they could watch if they need to try to understand what's happening to and around them. Ooh. It looks like bills on autopay. It looks like the respect of your peers. It looks like being happy with what you left in whatever craft you choose to be in. It looks like having both an appreciation, a respect, and an enjoyment for how you spend your day. It just looked like just contentment, really. Yeah, I feel like if you're happy or content or satisfied with whatever you're living in, you are successful.